This is what the sentence should say. We apologize effusively for not having customizable perks since day one of Warzone 2.0, and we solemnly apologize for this oversight, and we are happy to announce that in season 2, although much too late, we are finally allowing you guys to pick your own perks. That's how this sentence should have been written. Not, oh, season 2 will introduce customizable perk packages, like you're doing us a favor. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Today is the day. We actually we don't have any changes to talk about, of course, because this is, of course, Warzone 2 in current year. So there are fucking no changes to talk about, basically. But, hey, we have details on changes we will be getting soon. We got the coveted blog post, finally. Nostum prayers were answered. Fantastic. Welcome to the show, the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, episode number 297. I am very excited to get into this one. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, as usual, I am joined by Tanner. How's it going, bud?
Hey, how are you?
Great.
Are you? Nice, man.
I'm fucking great, man. Yeah, because I'm very excited to get into this blog post. Welcome to the show. If you are a new listener here, we have timestamps, so you can skip ahead to whatever section you want. If we're live, obviously, that's not possible. Use your brain once. But if you're listening on the app or in the video, yeah, you can go check the timestamps if you want to skip to whatever section you want. So today's episode, obviously, the bulk of it will be talking about the pretty substantial blog post posted by Call of Duty about changes coming for Season 2. A lot of big sweeping changes. A lot of things that Tanner and I called to a T. A lot of things we wanted that we didn't expect to get that we got, which I'm pretty excited to talk about. But we're going to dissect the fuck out of that as we get into it. Before that, a couple announcements. Welcome. And we got our patrons back, thank God, because you guys came real close last week. We got one patron last week, which was a mistake and a disaster and a travesty and shameful and disgusting from you listening if you're not a patron. However, this week we got an acceptable number of new patrons, and now is a great time to join, which we will get into. Welcome to our new gold patrons, Girthquake, change it, Robert B, and Edmund. Edmund is the oldest person to ever listen to this podcast, or you're a butler or something. Anyway, welcome to our new gold patrons. Thank you very much, boys. More importantly, welcome to our new platinum patrons, Seaman Demon 1217, okay, Omega TV, and Joseph T upgrading from gold to platinum. Absolute Chads. And more importantly than you pigs, welcoming back a longtime friend of the program, initially joined a long time ago. Back in the dark days of COVID.
First 20 or so, first 25 maybe.
It was real fucking early. Christine K, the artist, also known as Young Miss Lemur Party, dude. Holy shit, she did it. She fucking did it. Lemur, welcome back, goddess. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. It's good to have you back. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I accidentally tried to join your party because the UI makes no fucking sense, so sorry about that. But glad to have you back, Queen. It's good to see you in Discord, and it's even better to see you on the Patreon. So thanks, bitch. Get scammed. Love you, Lemur. Thank you very much. Also, speaking of old friends, longtime listeners, Dubfire has gone annual gold patron. Long-time listener, opting in for another fucking year at a discount by going annual. Young Dubstuffer, old Dubstuffer, excuse me. Thank you very much, dude. Much appreciated. Welcome aboard. And to our new YouTube members, Doug Henry, friend of the pod, joining offline a couple days ago, and Graham McClellan, the most Irish listener we have.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
I mean, Giga Irish, yeah, that guy is, rejoining, re-upping, becoming a friend of the pod on the YouTube 2 days ago. Thank you, boys. Much appreciated. And also, we cannot forget Mike Zanoli Cannoli, I think, who was our first and only annual Obsidian patron, if I'm not mistaken, which is just outrageous to do. I'll take it, obviously, but it's an outrageous thing to do. Has not been scammed enough, I guess, and with no message attached, didn't say anything, just like, cause I can, donated a very generous 50 United States dollars. Holy shit. Zanoli, cannoli, guacamole, Italy, red sauce, spaghetti. Mike, thank you very much.
I love cannolis. You like cannolis?
They're okay.
Really?
It needs to not have that much filling. I think the filling's too sweet for me a lot of times. It's too thick, I think, plus sweet. I don't know. I could go for a cannoli, though. I've only ever literally had them in Italy, and everyone always says how they're thick, but the one I had there, they were not thick at all like that. So maybe they're just trashy or something, because it was like you bit into it and it was like biting into fucking like thinner than sour cream consistency. But I always hear people talk about how thick they are too. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like it would taste better. Because some cannolis, it's like you have just like a mouthful of the custard. It's too much.
Oh yeah, it's like fucking cottage cheese or something. Yeah,
it's just too much. So, Jesus Christ, that was weird. Anyway, thank you very much, Mike. I very much appreciate that. We very much appreciate that $50. So all you guys, thanks very much. Now, speaking of the Patreon, because we got a lot of new patrons, we just did an episode that went live this morning. In fact, it was another Warzone brainstorm, but we got a nice little treat at the very beginning of it. And that made that episode actually a lot of fun. We got this blog post that we're going to talk about in detail today. So we had basically written all of our notes for our Warzone brainstorm, going over a lot of things we had talked about last month on our last Warzone brainstorm, which is basically where Tanner and I try to figure out things we could do better, change. Should we be running this perk package instead? Shit like that, And right when we had finished our notes, Tanner was like, literally, right when we started recording, he was like, oh, that blog post just came out. And we were like, oh, okay. So we skimmed over it, and it actually changed a lot of what we had planned on talking about, which is actually really good because it made that brainstorm super topical. And I deeply enjoyed doing that. I thought that was really good and really fun. So we talked a little bit about the blog post, but not to the same level of detail that we're going to today. But
no,
it was really fun, and I think it's a really good provides a lot of good thoughts and things to think about to prepare yourselves for season 2 of Warzone if you want to do well, because we had the blog post resources to kind of inform us of how to prepare and stuff. So I really enjoyed that episode. What were your thoughts on that?
That was a good one. I like the talk we were doing with like the muzzles versus silencers and stuff. Looking at Sim, talking about that.
Yep.
Just, talking about how much more like a muzzle device, like a compensator or a muzzle brake, helps with recoil compared to like a silencer, and like, you know, the pros and cons of those, because silencers do add a lot of velocity, but you do not get nearly the amount of recoil control that you get otherwise. So I like talking about that. And then, of course, really sniping. We touched on sniping again, which we'll see what happens now with season 2 coming, how that is going to play out. We talked more about sniping in the backpack, how beneficial that could be late game. Still don't think it's ever worth running if you only can choose from 2 guns, but, you know.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll see if they make changes to that.
Yeah, for sure. So that was really good. For all of you patrons, that is up now, so you can go listen to that. And I think that's good listening if you're a Warzone player, especially if you plan on, you know, getting active in season 2 or coming back for season 2. So the next 2 Patreon episodes we have for the month planned are CDL Mosh Pit / ranked play episode. We're going to do some CDL Mosh Pit gaming, see what works, see what our thoughts are on it, and any ideas we are going to have. We talk more about our plans in the episode that just went live, so you can go listen to that. And then another episode idea we're going to do for this month is trying to prepare ourselves and talk about what the best way for us to get a Warzone nuke is going to be. Because we have not gotten a nuke. This is something I've been saying since Warzone 2 came out. That is something I really want to grind for eventually. I haven't been trying to lately because the move, well, it was first like the game didn't work, and then I was moving and the game still kind of didn't work. And now I'm just going to wait till season 2 at this point.
Now you're done moving and the game still doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely it'll work in season 2 though.
Since it hasn't changed in 5 months. Since pre-launch. So yeah. So with that said though, we're going to do an episode on how we plan to get a nuke in Warzone. And the way to do that, of course, is get 5 wins in a row. And then on the 6th game, you get like a nuke contract and it's like fucking hard or whatever. We're going to talk about how we plan on getting that done. And I think that is going to be interesting as well. And I think we're going to also relegate that to like season 2, because that's when our friends are going to want to play again. That's when we're going to want to play more again as well. So it's going to have that season 2 kind of twist involved, but I'm excited for that as well. So for all of you patrons out there, or if those sound interesting to you, you can join the Patreon. Those 2 episodes and the one that just went up, the Brainstorm, are all going to be available by the end of the month for every single patron. So keep that in mind. Other than that, do we have any other announcements, Tanner?
No.
Cool. You're listening for the jingle. Here it is. We did it. Welcome, boys and girls, to episode 297. Oh, by the way, here's another announcement before I forget. I don't think we're doing anything special for episode 300. I think we'll mention it. We'll talk a little bit about it, but it's not going to be like a production or anything. I haven't even considered it. So, yeah. Anyway. All right. Welcome to the show. Let's get into it. So first, patch notes changes already in effect. Obviously, the big ticket item today is going to be the blog post, which we're going to get into shortly. But before that, iDub tweeted yesterday, you voted, shoot the ship is here. So we could vote between, on Twitter, they did a poll, shoot the ship, shipment only 24/7 or shoot house 24/7. People voted for shoot the ship. So that's in. I voted for shoot the ship as well, even though I don't play, because I think that is the best of those playlists. I really enjoy Shoot the Ship. I enjoyed a lot in MW 2019, especially for the camo grind. I think it's like the perfect playlist because you can get long shots on Shoot House, and then you can you can grind everything pretty quick on Shoot House. And then on Shipment, you can grind things like insanely quick. So it's a great playlist, and it gives you some variety. You can grind longer. So that's back in. Cyber Attack is in. I don't know if we've ever had Cyber Attack in this game. Have we? Maybe we have.
Oh boy.
But I don't remember.
It's been in private lobbies. I don't remember either. I don't know.
Yeah, and Bounty, which I think we played in a Damascus hangout once.
That was a fun mode. No, it wasn't. That was fun. Okay, it like marks people and shit. It kind of like marks people and you get more points if you kill them. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah. Okay.
Bounty's cool. You're thinking of like hostage or something.
Yeah, prisoner rescue or whatever the fuck. Yeah. Which was dog shit. So.
Yeah, Bounty's actually a fun game mode.
Yeah, Bounty would be pretty fun. And Bounty is basically TDM, but if you are doing well, then you're worth more points when you get killed. And then there's one of each on each team, obviously. So anyway, there you go. And then a minor update, Raven tweeted, went live to address an issue that prevented Trios wins from counting towards Champions Quest progress. Oh no.
Yeah, I wonder how long that was a problem.
How mad would you be? How fucking mad would you be if you are like not insane at the game, but you're good enough to get like to try really hard and get 5 wins and then they just don't count because it's trios?
I know.
That sucks, dude. Well, good thing they fixed it, I guess. Or they said they fixed it. Hopefully they actually did. But
yeah, for sure,
Trios is the best playlist in Warzone too, so that's just that's not great that was a bug. But anyway, okay. Well, there you go. Good. And then also we got another little patch here. Sure you can go. Oh shit! What the fuck?
Yeah, so they did a lot of little fixes. Nothing. It's quite a few words and fixes. Haven't heard of almost any of them. The biggest one is they fixed the issue that caused multiple speaker names to persist on screen when 4 or more players were talking. So that became a bug where like even if no one was around you anymore, you'd have just a long list of people on the left-hand side that's showing they were VoIPing when they weren't. That's been in the game like, a month or two, and so they finally fixed that. So that was the biggest one. And then they also temporarily disabled the ability to mark targets using the spotter scope when investigate an issue. I wonder if that's like people staying perma-marked.
That must be it.
Because that was in day one. That was in the game literally the day the game launched, because we used the spotter scopes a lot early on, and we noticed that right away. Can't believe that just now got fixed, but it is.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
Some marking it all with a spotter scope, actually.
Exactly. Yeah, so they didn't fix it. They just
actually, that would be my guess. But
and then other than that, just like some weapon tracking, some camo tracking things, and other stuff that doesn't really matter. Some DMZ fixes, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. That was the biggest one, though, is the player names on screen.
Okay. Yeah. So a couple bug fixes and shit. These are the types of patches I would expect until we get season 2. Just kind of cleaning things up a little bit, which is what they should be doing while they work on actual content for season 2. It's a shame we have to wait that long for more content, but whatever, that's fine. And now let's get into it. The blog post, the season 2 blog post. So last week we had talked about some tweets that I think Infinity Ward, I don't know, Call of Duty Studios made, talking about we're going to change looting, the gulag, and loadouts. Those are like the big 3 things we're going to change. And we will detail more what exactly we mean by that in a blog post next week. This is that blog post. So we're going to go pretty granularly here. We're going to get pretty detailed. So that is what we are doing now. The blog was posted yesterday, the 25th of January, and they have a preamble here. I don't care about the preamble. Global changes, crashes, and stability. We remain dedicated. Okay, so they're going to try to reduce crashes.
Surely,
no shit. Audio, global. Okay. Here we go. So, Tanner, is this the section I should be excited about?
This is, it's not excited. It's just funny and insane.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll figure it out.
So for context, by the way, Tanner and I skimmed this yesterday. I have not actually read it yet. In like completely until now. So we're going to experience this together, hopefully. So the title of this section, audio, global. Global meaning DMZ, Warzone, and multiplayer. Data suggests that some PC players may be experiencing audio issues due to discrepancies in the number of channels they are outputting. We've added an option to force PC to stereo output. Please be sure to check Windows and in-game audio settings are set correctly in accordance with your listening environment. Okay, so is that the part I'm supposed to be mad at? Because I already am.
No, it's the second part. Okay. I don't even know what any of that means, and I don't really care.
They're trying to say you don't hear footsteps because you have your audio on mono.
That's kind of what I took it as. Yeah, so they're blaming us for their game not having audio. Yeah, it didn't have footstep audio in Warzone 1 either.
That's absurd. So, everyone's PC is in stereo, dude. It's 2023. You have to try really hard to not be in stereo.
I don't even know how to change that in Windows settings. I actually have no clue. Yeah,
you have to like look it up. Yeah, I wonder if it's like stereo versus like 7.1 virtual surround. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So, okay. I have nothing to add on that. Investigation into player reports regarding audio led us to identifying a previously unknown issue impacting occlusion across the game. And I'm still not totally clear on what audio occlusion is, but basically, as far as I understand it, audio occlusion is like how audio is interpreted when you hear something in like another room, like through walls, or like if someone's walking above you, that's like occlusion. Because there's like shit in the way. I think it's
enclosed environments, like when you're in a building, basically.
Okay, sure.
It's how sounds are perceived in closed environments.
That's what. Okay, let's do a little. So Oxford says the blockage or closing of it. Okay, that's not it. A process whereby something is hidden or obscured from prominence or view. Yeah,
so I think you gotta just look up audio occlusion.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. So anyway, audio occlusion. Oh, here we go. We could have just kept reading. Audio occlusion is a filter that is applied based on the type of material that an object or structure is composed of, primarily based on its thickness and how it blocks the full frequency of the sound. Okay, so if you are on the other side of a wooden wall versus a stone wall, maybe it's going to be different based on the audio occlusion filter that is applied to stone versus wood. That's how
based
I'm
interpreting
on the thickness. Yeah, that's how I'm interpreting that sentence. Only large structural objects should apply the filter, but we found some small items. But we found some small items like a stapler or a pile of rags on the ground that were causing the filter to turn on when it shouldn't have. So in other words, what this okay, for example, a wastebasket that was tagged with the incorrect material may have occluded the sound like it was behind a wall, making the sound more difficult for a player to hear. This issue will be addressed in the Season 2 update, and we continue to work on fixes and new audio features to better our players' experience. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this, Tanner, but this actually doesn't make me mad. It makes me mad that this happened.
Oh, it's just funny, yeah.
But I believe that this is like what has been going on with the audio being super inconsistent. And it also sounds like a pretty easy fix where they just take off that occlusion filter on the little dog shit items that shouldn't be in the game anyway, by the way, in the environment. This is actually really, oh my God, what's the word? This makes me actually very optimistic for audio to get better, because this actually makes sense as to why the audio is so inconsistent in Warzone right now. And it seems like a pretty easy fix. What are your thoughts on it?
So I think basically what was happening is a building with 4 walls and 2 bedrooms was acting as a building with could be a building with countless walls.
Yeah.
And like added walls, because if there's a stapler on the ground, it would like make the audio essentially think there's a whole nother wall right there or something. That would explain the absolute awful audio when it comes to fighting in buildings. Yeah. And it seems to be like not always a vertical thing, because that's what we said since the beginning, is like, how come I can hear a guy 2 or 3 floors above me running and I know he's above me, but then when he's on my level I can't hear him anymore? And it must be something to do with, like, essentially I have direct line of sight on him 15 meters away in my building, but I don't hear him because there's a stapler on the ground and it thinks there's a wall right between us, you know? Whereas before, when you go vertically, that's essentially maybe not blocking it, and that's why you could hear him so well. Something like that.
Oh, interesting. Like, that's floors don't give occlusion, but walls
something
do?
Like that. Yeah. It's like a different type of occlusion, maybe.
Theory. That's a good theory, actually. That would explain it, right?
Yeah. So, you know, I think this will help a ton. Will footsteps ever be where we want them to be? No, of course not, because they never have been. The only time footsteps have been where we would like them to be is when they added, what was the thing they added in
Battle Rage?
And they raised footstep audio by 15%. So they could make it louder, of course, but they choose not to. So this, I think, will fix a lot of the inconsistencies. Will it still be too quiet and I'll still complain about footstep audio deaths every day? Oh yes, of course, probably yes. And I'm saying that because it's been this way since MDub 2019, so of course it's not ever going to be perfect, but this should solve most of the big issues, I hope.
Yeah, for sure. This is thrilling and fantastic, and I'm hoping that this does, again, because, and this is why I just spit all over my mic. Sorry about that. If you're watching, that was gross to watch, probably. This is how I know Raven wrote this, because this, like, makes sense. It makes sense. It's clearly written out. They gave you a perfect example to, like, explain it. And if this is truly the problem or a problem, this should undoubtedly make the audio better.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, why didn't I hear that guy I absolutely should have heard? Well, it's because the game thought there was a wall there as far as the sound is concerned. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. That would explain why I didn't hear that guy I should have heard. And then Raven says, okay, well, yeah, we're going to fix that. So now, like, it won't think there's a wall there anymore. Okay, cool. Good.
And
good. Yeah. It makes sense. You know?
And it's definitely something vertical, because remember, like, early on, we'd be playing and we would notice that right away. We would say, okay, I hear some guy running, and then you don't hear him anymore. So we're like, okay, that means he's on our level. Sure enough, he would be. And then Jake started to point out, like, there'd be a tiny little hill, like, outside of a building or house that was, like, the guy was 6 inches lower, and you hear him perfectly, and then he, like, comes up that and he's on your same exact elevation level and you couldn't hear him anymore. And it's probably because, again, something to do with, like, I feel like vertical wasn't affected much with this audio issue, and it was just like putting a blank wall somewhere right in front of you on, like, the flat surfaces, and that's what was fucking it up. Because you'd hear people more if they were above or below you and not at the same level as you. Always. That's how it's always been.
Yeah, probably. Very weird.
So cool. Hope this fixes that.
I hope it does too. I'm super curious to see what audio's like in season 2. But that's a promising little tidbit there. Also, how does that happen, though? How does a stapler get dampen audio as much as a wall does? How did that happen? You know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
AAA Dev Studio. But anyway, whatever. Moving on.
The best developers in the world, yeah.
UI. Oh boy. Okay. Well, a lot of things could happen with the UI to make it better. A number of UI UX updates are coming to season. Stop saying UX. What is that?
We've talked about this. What does UX mean?
User experience?
User experience.
Okay, change it. Just UI. User interface is fine. You don't need to do that. Anyway, whatever. A number of UI updates are coming to season 2 to improve overall flow of in-game menus. Good. These updates include improved navigation and organization of the camo menu. That's needed. More polished social tab. Remove the social tab, including improved channel swapping and player muting. Remove the social tab. Just remove it. New My Bundle screen. That's good. Quick equip items from I don't care. Reticle previews in store and Gunsmith.
Finally.
That's really good.
That's a day one thing we should have had, yeah.
Yes. Improved clarity of attachment blocking logic in Gunsmith. Oh, so like if you put on like an integrated suppressor muzzle device, it'll be more clear that it's going to block a muzzle. Okay, or a barrel, or a muzzle. Yeah, okay. You guys get it. And many more bug fixes. Okay, cool. And they recently introduced a fix that restored the instant speed of recent players in menu and status refresh of friends.
That was an issue. Good. Recent players like would only show people from like 4 days ago, basically. It would never update as often as it should.
Yeah. And then they say further details ahead. And then experience. Improved after action report with audio. Okay. Play again feature in BR. Okay. Bug fixes for inconsistencies between challengers. I think they meant challenges. AAA Dev Studio. Battle Pass, $1 billion company. Weapon progression. Okay, cool. Weapon balance. Okay, here's what they say about weapon balance. Weapon balance is something we are always analyzing, and we'll be balancing weapons for Season 2 just like any other seasonal or mid-season update. Details on weapon balancing can be found in the upcoming Season 2 launch patch notes. We're excited to discuss some changes to Armor Below that will make for more consistent engagement in Warzone 2. I like specifically how they just said more consistent engagement, because that is a big problem with Warzone 2 right now. I don't think they're actually going to address this, but that is the problem with combat right now, in my view, in Warzone 2, is that a gunfight at medium range is pretty goddamn consistent every time. Gunfight up close, wildly inconsistent. What they are referring to here is the armor vest change, I think, which we're going to get into. Yeah. But I hope maybe I'm wrong and they also are going to change how close range gunfights work. Okay, so next section here, Battle Royale. This is what most of you are interested in. The Gulag. 1v1 Gulag will be returning with the launch of Season 2. We already knew this. This is good. With this change, players will see the return of the original Warzone overtime mechanic. The domination-style flag control point in place of the jailer. You nailed it.
Wow, that's weird. It's like players didn't like having AI come into their Gulag fight. That's weird and interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so you nailed how that was going to work.
Who would have thought? Yeah.
So they're getting rid of the jailer. They're doing the overtime flag for 1v1s. This is very good. In order to bring this change online sooner, we have edited the existing Season 1 Gulag for better 1v1 combat, but are actively working on a dedicated 1v1 map for future seasons.
So they did make changes to the map. Okay. Wow. That's what that means. So small changes to the map, I'm sure. And cool, they're working on another 1v1 map. Good. Smart. Good for you. That's, I think, what kind of we had talked about is that obviously this map is not designed necessarily for 2v2. A little bit too big. It is a great map, though. Yeah, sorry, for 1v1. It is a great map, though, which is unfortunate. But maybe they'll kind of base it off the same idea. I don't know. This won't be done till Season 3 or 4 anyways, actually. So at that point, I'd just want a new Gulag either way, probably.
Yeah. I am curious to see how they change the actual map, though. Because they say they're going to on launch. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we called that fucking exactly. So that's good. Those are good changes.
Yeah, that's a good change.
I'm curious to see how they change the map, the Gulag map.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they'll end up doing. I think they should just cut off that lane that doesn't have the ramp on the end, but we'll see what they actually do.
I like that lane better. I hope they don't. I love going that route. I always go that way.
Yeah, but people would mold if you couldn't go mid to that platform anymore. They would never get rid of that platform area. So
no.
Okay, so they moving on. We've also made some logistical changes to the Gulag experience. Ground loot has been revisited, as well as the loadouts that players will spawn in with. Okay, what does ground loot has been revisited mean?
Just keep reading.
Okay. We've updated the pool to include ARs, submachine guns, and light machine guns as primary weapons as the circles progress. Oh, that's interesting. Shotguns have been removed from the rotation, while handguns will remain available as secondary weapons. For those leaving the arena victorious, the Gulag will grant a larger cash reward to players. This change to cash will allow redeploying players to get back on their feet a bit faster. Okay. Alongside increased victory cash rewards mentioned in the previous section, the Gulag will now spawn cash as ground loot to encourage and reward players willing to prowl the arena. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's unnecessary. Again, if you are having trouble finding money in Warzone 2, you're just not playing it correctly. It's that simple. There's no issue finding money if you know how to play the game.
And this is going to be super superfluous when we move on here.
Oh, we're going to end... Yeah. I mean, we're going to end up in Season 2 ending a game with $150,000, actually. So
yeah.
But yeah, the cash on the ground, I get the idea, make people move around. But seems a little unnecessary since you're also granting more cash when they win the Gulag. I don't know.
Yeah.
My favorite thing though is that we're going to be having ARs, subs, light machine guns, and it sounds like handguns will always be secondary weapons the way they word that. So it sounds like no primary handguns, at least in Season 2. So we're always going to have like a real gun, an AR, sub, or LMG, which is how it always should have been.
It's weird that they say as the circle progresses. It makes me think maybe if you die super early, you only have a pistol. But if you die in the 4th circle, you'll have an LMG with a pistol as your sidearm or something. I
wonder if as the circles progress, the guns will also like have more attachments or something. Like maybe early on, you'll still have like an MP5, or you'll have a Lockman sub with no attachments and a pistol backup. And then if you die in 4th circle or whatever, come back, you're going to have like a attack 56 with an optic, a suppressor, something like that on it. That makes for an interesting change coming back. Again, I mean, not totally necessary since guns are going to be basically free at loadout at buy stations, but I think overall I like that idea to come back with slightly better guns.
Yeah, there is a worry about getting the experience of Caldera where you're in a team fight, you kill 3 of them, they come back with their Gulag guns and then fuck you because the Gulag guns were too good. I'm a lot less worried about that, though, in Warzone 2 and on this map. So I don't think that will be an issue. If that's not an issue, then yeah, I think this is fun. The cash on the ground, like the ground looting in the Gulag is always dumb. I'm never going to agree with it. The fact that they're adding a little bit of cash on the ground, I see what they're going for to incentivize people to move their characters. That's fine. I just don't care. I don't think it's going to change the game at all. I don't think this is actually going to accomplish anything. It's not going to hurt the game having cash on the ground to loot in the Gulag. I don't think it's going to help either, though, because like you said, and like we've been saying for quite a while now, cash is the least of your concerns in Warzone because there's nothing to buy. So everything is really cheap or unavailable mostly, except for loadouts, which are way too expensive. So it's just like cash doesn't matter really. So, but we'll get into that right now. So the next section, cash economy. In addition to the cash changes to the Gulag outlined above, we are balancing the BR economy with a slight reduction to cash rewards for completing contracts. So you get less money for doing a contract. That's odd. Additionally, we are increasing the lowest value of cash piles from ground loot to $800 and from cash registers to $500, which was formerly a $100 minimum. So in other words, if you see cash on the ground right now, it can be as little as $100. Come Season 2, the smallest amount, the smallest denomination of cash you see is going to be an $800 stack. And then in cash registers, the smallest stack's going to be $500.
That's a good change.
Significant.
I love that.
That's significant. That's going to be a lot more money. Because I would find $200 stacks all the time. And if you go to a gas station with how many little shit cash piles there are, if those are all minimum 800, you will be loaded quickly. So this is going to be a lot more money in people's pockets. Yeah. In addition to this, cash can be acquired via ground loot, containers, and white stronghold supply boxes throughout Al Mazrah, but can no longer be found in basic and legendary supply boxes. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Wait,
what do they mean by containers? Is that like duffel bags and shit?
Hold on. Yeah, I'm actually not understanding this.
That's the only part I don't understand.
In addition to this, cash can be acquired via white stronghold supply boxes, but not in basic and legendary. So, okay.
Yeah.
I see. What is the reason for that?
I don't know. I kind of like it though, because then when you open like a normal like crate, you know it's not going to have money. You're opening it for like loot and shit. And then the money's just all going to be on the ground that you just run over and pick up by running over it. So overall, I like that change a lot.
You know what else is good? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, we don't know how much the money's actually going to change. They haven't really told us in terms of if there's actually going to be way more spawning or how that's going to work, but it sounds different for sure.
I think this is cool too, actually, because you can change like where you go or what you choose to loot based on what you need. It's like if you're trying to buy your teammate back like quickly, and you could go either to, I don't know, a stronghold or like a gas station, you're going to go to the gas station. But if your whole team is there and you don't need money, well, now I'm going to go to the stronghold and like loot that shit or whatever, or like airport or something where there's a lot of basic and legendary supply boxes because you're trying to get self-res, ammo, plates, streaks. So then you'll go to areas where a lot of those basic and legendary boxes are. But if you're just like really trying to buy a teammate back, you'll avoid those areas and go to other containers, the ground stashes, the duffel bags, shit like that, and in buildings and areas where those are common to get cash. Like, you know what you're going for. You can go for something now. I actually think this is a cute little change. I think this is a really cute little change, actually.
Yeah, you kind of just know what to expect that way.
Yeah, because like in Warzone 1, if I needed cash, I'm just opening everything and going everywhere, basically. And because there could be cash anywhere. But now I can like really focus on what I want if I want to. That's cool. I like this change a lot, actually. It seems kind of small, but I think that's a big deal. I think that's helpful. This redistribution should make for quicker, more consistent gameplay. Yeah, like I was just saying, in the pursuit of resources. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Really well thought out change there, actually. I like that a lot.
Yep, I like that too.
So next section, loot and inventory. As announced last week, we're shifting away from loot windows and menus to floating loot that will now drop out of all containers in the world, similar to loot from supply boxes. This change is intended to improve the pace of gameplay by minimizing time spent navigating the UI and getting players back in the action faster. This is something we've already talked about.
We talked about that from COD Next pretty much, how much added time that is.
Yeah.
Just opening up all those containers, having to click on what you want. it was a pain.
And now you can just run over shit once you open it, and you don't have to,
like what we're used to,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So we talked about this last week. So moving on, we were excited to see the new backpack system give players the agency to customize their inventory for a desired play style or role within a squad. In our continued effort to balance engagements, medium and large backpacks will no longer be available in BR, and eliminated players will drop loot onto the ground rather than loot-filled backpacks. This is a big change that we were not expecting. Let me finish. Every player will have the same backpack throughout the entire game, which will subsequently reduce the impact of stacking medical supplies, equipment, and kill streaks. We will continue to look for feedback and provide updates that streamline the looting experience for everyone. So this is something that Tanner and I did not see coming at all.
No, not at all.
Medium and large backpacks are gone. One thing that also means is being able to carry 3 weapons at once is gone. The impact for sniping in particular with this change is very big and very detrimental. Tanner and I talked about this particularly quite a bit in our latest Patreon episode, patreon.com/thedropshot, available now to all patrons. And I don't think I like this, and I think they could have changed things a lot better. So one sentence they have here again is that every player will have the same backpack throughout the entire game, which is going to be smaller than a medium and large backpack, obviously, which will subsequently reduce the impact of stacking self-revives, is what they mean to say here, equipment, and kill streaks. So one of our big complaints last week when we were talking about how they're going to change looting is that you can stack too many self-reses and too many kill streaks with the current system we have. So they have developed a solution to that by saying, okay, we're just going to make everyone's backpack smaller, but you can still fill your small backpack with 6 precision airstrikes if you want. This is an inelegant, clumsy, dogshit solution.
Lazy, the easiest solution.
Lazy. Reminds me of adding an extra damage range drop off to the kilo. That's what this reminds me of. Just a lazy, the most thoughtless way to address an issue. And it will help, but it's not going to help enough. I guarantee it. Because streaks are still going to drop too often.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible, and I hope they nerfed the drop rate of streaks and the ability to find them in ground loot, but they don't say that anywhere. And the way they word all this makes it sound like they're just making this change pretty much so you can't stack those kill streaks anymore. It's like, well, dude, you could have kept the backpack system still, the larger backpack, so I can carry more ammo, munitions, an extra gun. But instead, they just took the easiest, laziest way to fix an issue, the classic Activision way, and just removed something entirely instead of, putting in the time to think how to balance it, like a special slot like we had talked about. Hey, we came up with a great idea. Shocking. They didn't do that. They said, oh, let's just get rid of it, So, there are people that have said things like, we may be able to use a third gun still. We don't know. Yeah, but 99% sure we won't be able to, because they specifically say medium and large are no longer going to be available, meaning the new one's going to be small. And I just don't see why they would make it so every player can use 3 guns or have 3 guns on their player immediately when they drop into the game. I just can't see that being the case. So yes, they have not confirmed that, but I cannot see that being the case. I feel like and that was the best part. That was easily the best part of the backpack system, is being able to hold a third gun. So that really does suck in my opinion. Don't love the backpack system, never wanted it, still don't want it overall. But since they're keeping it in, I would have rather just still have the larger backpacks so that we can use a third gun and snipe and stuff and make that a little bit more viable. And then you just nerf the spawn rates of self-revives, kill streaks, cap it so there's a special slot. So many other ways to do this, but yeah, of course, we just, we get the easiest, simple way.
Yep. The special slot solution we talked about last week would have been a way better fix. An even easier fix for the devs would be to drastically reduce how fucking often you get kill streaks, even when you're not trying for them. They could have drastically reduced the spawn rate of self-reses. All of this would have fixed the problem actually more than just removing medium and large backpacks, and it would have kept the cool thing they designed that they're really proud of. But they just are they were too lazy in the case of a special slot thing. That would have taken some work. But it's weird to me that they didn't think, instead of just reducing the spawn rate of kill streaks and self-reses, we'll just remove the backpacks that are like a cool, novel idea. It's really weird that they didn't do that first. I think this is a really big misstep.
I agree. That's another great suggestion from chat too, from Jake. And make overkill so you can carry a third gun. That would be perfect. That would be amazing. They won't do it. That sounds confusing on their end to be able to code to when you pick up a perk that adds an extra slot in your backpack, unless it doesn't go in your backpack and you just swap between 3 guns. I don't know.
Better if they put it
that would be perfect. And they won't do it, and they'll just remove overkill since you can buy your guns for $1,500 probably. But that would be a really, really good idea in order to balance overkill. Because if sniping still doesn't one-shot, but I want to use it, I would very likely run overkill in order to do something like that. Actually, that would change up the perk balance a lot. They won't do it. Overkill will be removed.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That would make overkill relevant and like worth using, but not overpowered.
Yeah.
That would be perfect. Yeah, that's a really smart idea. Yeah.
Smart idea, too smart for Activision. Yeah.
This is why we've been saying for so long, Activision just needs consultants who actually play the game. Because how long did it take for a group of 35 people who actually play the game to come up with an idea that's just way better than what they're doing? I mean, we've been live for 49 minutes. even if it took 50 minutes, which it didn't, that's still not that much time. They have the resources to hire a consultant for a fucking hour. So anyway,
what they would do is hire consultants and spend millions of dollars hiring consultants and then not listen to a single piece of feedback or change anything they say.
That sounds like something.
Because that sounds like that's what they did with everyone that went to COD Next and gave them feedback. They said, yeah, here you go, fill it out on this paper here. And then when everyone left, they just put those straight in the shredder and said, see ya. Thanks for the input, dipshits. Get out. Go home.
Yeah. So anyway, not a great change. I will say this, though, not terrible. And this might help with the streak spam amount. I just don't. Actually, you know what? I don't think this is going to help that much with streak spam. I think it's going to help some
bit. But I mean, enough. Hey, I'm still going to hold 3 kill streaks.
That's
of course.
What I'm saying.
If they're the same spawn rate, I'm still holding them. What else am I going to care? I'm going to have a kill streak on me. What is a small backpack? 5 slots, right?
I think it's 6. 5 or 6.
If it's 5, I'm holding 3 kill streaks, 1 on my character, 4 total kill streaks, probably a stack of plates and a stack of ammo. That's what I'm using. Right. Actually. Exactly. If I can find that many streaks, I'll carry 6 streaks in my backpack, you know?
Yeah.
So I just really hope we're also seeing the nerf to those spawn rates. We have to be, right? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
We just have to be.
Hope so.
Or add them all into buy stations, but make them cost double or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It's actually hilarious that you can't buy a precision, or at most you can buy 1 precision from a buy station. Meanwhile, you can just you don't even have to loot. You just run over them and they automatically just fucking get swallowed into your backpack.
We need more money though, right? We need more money to buy stuff from those buy stations, right?
Anyway, so this is a lazy, pretty trash change, but it might help. It probably will help to some degree with the streak spam. I'm very curious to see how much it actually does. We're going to have to wait until we get in game in season 2 though. So pretty shit change there. Loadouts. Loadouts have always been a core part of Warzone's BR and something we pay close attention to. The changes players have seen with the launch of Warzone 2 and since then have ultimately been in pursuit of the most fulfilling experience for the individual and the team, all while keeping things challenging. As such, we're making further changes to how players acquire part of or the entirety of their loadouts. That's a weird sentence. Season 2 will introduce customizable perk packages.
Whoa, that's a good idea. Where'd they get that?
They dared to put an exclamation point after that sentence, like they're doing us a favor.
And say introduce instead, acting like it's a brand new thing we're seeing in Warzone.
It's outrageous to act like, oh,
yay,
I brought you a bike, Timmy. No, Timmy had that bike already, and you just got it back from the repo department or something. I don't know. But we already had customizable perk packages. We should have never not had them. Don't have the gall to get excited that we're able to choose our own perks again. So I will say this, good. Hey, finally, but also duh. And of course, and day one shit. So it's a good change, but I don't get excited about it. You should have your hat in your hand and you should say, this is what the sentence should say. We apologize effusively for not having customizable perks since day one of Warzone 2.0, and we solemnly apologize for this oversight, and we are happy to announce that in Season 2, although much too late, we are finally allowing you guys to pick your own perks. That's how this sentence should have been written. Not, oh, Season 2 will introduce customizable perk packages, like you're doing us a favor. Fuck you, whoever wrote this. Anyways, good change,
it was so shocking that so many of us thought for the first month of Warzone, we weren't even sure if the devs knew if the perk packages were bugged or not. It's like so many of us, including me, was like, no, there's no way. They must be bugged. They'll add customizable perks. Didn't say anything for 2 months. Then somebody on a call with him finally was like, hey, none of the ultimate perks work, right? And they're like, oh, really? And they're also like, hey, we can't select our own perks, right? And they said, oh yeah, that's intended. Got it. Like we just actually didn't know if it was a bug or a feature.
Yeah.
And then also I like how they start with loadouts have always been a core part of Warzone's Battle Royale. When in Caldera, they tried to fuck the loadouts, make them they came 10 minutes into the game, you couldn't buy one. Then they changed it so, okay, you can buy one, but only 9 minutes into the game instead. And then finally they basically made it to how it was in Verdansk. And then they did the same thing with this game. Shocking. No one liked it. No one likes the stronghold ideas. And now again, they're talking about, oh yeah, they've always been a core part of Warzone Battle Royale. Exactly. They are the main part of your Battle Royale. Stop trying to take them away and making them more difficult to get.
Yeah. 100% agreed. Yeah, they are the core part of your battle royale. They are the
it is
only
literally what sets your
feature.
Yes, that is the only thing that sets your BR apart from
exactly.
others.
Yes. Yeah. So cool. We can actually pick our own fucking perks, which is basically half of create a class anyway, and by extension half of loadouts anyway. So good, but this sentence is offensive to me. So moving on, this feature will launch with a slightly reduced pool of available perks, which we may slowly reintroduce over time. We want to navigate this particular feature as carefully as possible, ensuring that all available perks provide ample utility and remain viable and balanced options. So this is another section that Tanner and I spent a fair amount of time talking about in that Patreon episode that went live this morning for all patrons at patreon.com/thedropshot, which is the best way to support the show. And I remain pretty confused on what this means. So we're going to be able to pick our own perks in season 2, but some of the perks that are available now in multiplayer, for example, will not be available in Warzone 2 on the launch of season 2. And we were having a very hard time figuring out what perks would be prohibited and why. So for example, a perk like Scavenger is in Warzone 2. It's in some of the perk packages, at least one of them. And it would make no sense to restrict Scavenger because it's a dog shit perk that no one is going to, it's not at risk of being unbalanced. If it is, it's because it's undertuned. It's virtually useless. So that makes us think, okay, well, they're probably going to disallow the more powerful perks, but there are only 3 good perks. There are only like 2 or 3 perks that are approaching overtuned. And those would be, and this is arguable, those would be High Alert, Ghost, and Fast Hands, probably. Maybe Resupply, if you wanted to be very generous. But none of those are insane. And none of those, I don't think, need to be restricted. This is something we didn't talk about in that bonus episode we last did, Tanner. But I don't see the need for a restriction of any perks. I don't know why we didn't talk about this, but I'm glad we didn't. We can say it now. There's no need to restrict the perk pool for Warzone 2 with a customizable perk package. Nothing is overpowered.
Well, Ghost is the one, if they change it so you can buy more UAVs at a buy station, and then you see UAV spam, and then the whole lobby is ghosted, that is the one that I can think of that will become very frustrating and annoying immediately, and that is almost instantly solved by just making it so Ghost only works while moving.
Which is fair, yes.
But I mean, preferably, I would rather just have Ghost not be in the game at all.
Yes.
What are they going to do? They'll probably restrict Fast Hands, Double Time, High Alert, and Ghost, and you can use every other perk but those 4, right?
That'd ones you want. Yeah, exactly.
The ones I want. Yeah, surely they're going to remove Fast Hands. But it's like, because like Overkill will actually have no utility at all since you can buy your guns for so cheap. Yeah. So it's like, why even have that? So I don't think they'll be adding that in unless they do the triple weapon thing, which of course they won't. But I'm very interested to see what perks we're going to be able to use. Yeah. And I wonder if that means, so they say we may slowly reintroduce over time. I'm sure by the time like season 5 rolls around, we'll probably have like 3, 4, 5 more perks in the game that are specific battle royale perks, like what happened in Caldera when they added them.
Yeah, things like Combat Scout and shit. I hope we don't get Combat Scout, by the way. That perk was way too good. Oh, no, of course not. Yeah. Although it wouldn't be as relevant on this map. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. Yeah, I agree with you. The only perk that would become overpowered would be Ghost, provided UAVs become way more prominent for one reason or another. whether that means unlimited capacity to buy them at buy stations, or they become a contract auto reward like big game bounties were, or something else. They increase the spawn rate of UAV. That's one thing with kill streaks, is they are loot everywhere, but they're almost never UAVs. I loot, for every UAV I loot, I would loot a combined, probably not kidding, 10 precision/mortars. So UAVs are not common ground loot.
Probably, yeah. It's something like that. Like, actually,
I'll go 10, I think. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. I'll let go a game where I call in, 5 or 6 mortars and precision airstrikes, and I still haven't even found a UAV up until that point. Yeah.
Exactly. So if they make UAVs as prevalent as mortars, as far as ground loot goes, there's another reason. There's another instance in which Ghost could be perhaps overtuned, and then it would make sense to remove it. I'm very curious to see what they do here, but that's interesting.
Yeah, and I had said that in the Patreon episode too. Basically, I kind of have a feeling when we see the introduction of customizable perk packages that Ghost will not be a perk we can select. And I'm thinking we will see... way too many people have complained about the UAV at buy station for too long for them to not change something. I don't think they'll make it unlimited, but I think they may start making it so you can buy like 3 or 5 UAVs, or 1 per team even, instead of 1 total. Something like that. That kind of makes me think they want to take that data, see how many UAVs are being popped a game, see how relevant Ghost would be if it'd be too strong or something, and then maybe add it in. Something like that, I can see that happening as well. Because I think if they uncap the amount of purchasable UAVs and then let you run Ghost will, within 5 days, be the only ultimate perk that people are running in Warzone. Yeah. It will be like that quick, and the game will be entirely ruined because of that. It's not a big issue right now, I don't think at all still, but it will become a massive issue real quick.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. And there's a lot to talk about there that I could get into now. I'm not going to, but God, my voice is cracked like 3 times in 2 days. But
it's the cold weather, man.
We will, yeah, maybe. Once season 2 launches and once things happen, then we can get more into the minutia. I don't want to talk about alternate dimensions too much right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Primary weapons, moving on, will continue to be available at buy stations, but now at a more affordable price point, so that players can pursue victory with their most desired weapons. For context, quickly, by the way, the current price of a primary weapon is $2,500, which is trivially easy and cheap. They don't need to make them cheaper, but I'm fine with it, I guess. But this is just not necessary. This is Activision devs not playing their own game, because I have never not had enough money to buy a gun. Like, it never happens anymore. They were $5,000. That was like an obstacle. $2,500, they're not. And now they're going to make them even cheaper. So that's fine, I guess, but whatever. We also remain happy with the introduction of loadout drop markers, though we have taken a careful look at the price point. The price of loadout drop markers has been slightly reduced so that respective squad sizes can acquire their full loadouts at a faster pace. In addition, on extremely rare occasions, players may find one while looting throughout Al Mazrah. So you can loot a loadout.
Cool, I like that.
Field upgrade. That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
A second loadout drop public event has been added, which means the drops will now happen on the 1st and 5th circles each match. So we were largely correct in our predictions here. We predicted loadouts would become dramatically cheaper, so we got that a little wrong because they said they're only going to slightly reduce the cost. Curious what exactly that means. And we also predicted there were going to be 2 loady drops instead of just the 1, which there now will be. So we're taking and by the way, as I had said last week, we're taking everything back to Warzone 1. We're taking everything back to what players since COD Next have been begging the devs to do, is let's not get too crazy and change shit no one wants changed. Let's change things that people do want changed or are interested in seeing changed. Let's not add strongholds. Let's not do all the crazy, not that they're going to revert that, but let's not get crazy. Let's not make a loadout drop marker $500,000, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're wasting the entire season rolling things back to how they worked in Warzone 1. That's fine. This is a step in the right direction, but this is the opportunity cost is we're not getting a map update. We're not getting new contracts. We're not getting as many new weapons as we otherwise could, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunate. But anyways, we got most of this right. And now the question is, I'm going to read the sentence again. A second loadout drop public event has been added, which means the drops will now happen on the 1st and 5th circles each match. That does not imply that now each team will get their own box.
Yeah.
So we're probably not getting that.
Which I think they would have said here if that was the case.
I think they would have said yes. And here's one question. I have a couple questions. First of all, I wonder if they're going to mention, I wonder if it's intended or not, how the icons work on the map. So if there's a stronghold, when strongholds open, there are 5 strongholds on the map. Once one of them is taken, the icon goes away. Why? I don't want to have to remember if I can't be the first one to a stronghold. That's really dumb. And I don't know if that's an intended feature or not. I don't know if they intend on the icons disappearing or not. It's really annoying. Loadout drop markers is going to be another one, the icons. You see the icons and then they disappear. I don't even know why they disappeared, by the way. Is it when you get a loadout? Is it when you get a community loadout? But at some point they'll disappear and you won't see the icons again unless you die and respawn, which is better than never seeing them again, but still dumb. And I don't know if this is intended or not. These are big problems that need to be fixed, especially if you're not the first team to a stronghold. So I really hope we get word on that or changes. That would be good. I hope we will see that in the blog post. But also, I am curious how the interaction between the community loadout marker from the 1st circle and the 5th circle, when the 5th circle loadouts drop, will the 1st circle loadout drops disappear? Will the icons disappear? Will they stay but the icons don't reappear? How is that going to work?
So my question there, aside from the icons, is the way the loadouts work now is the plane goes right across the middle of the zone at some direction and drops all the loadouts right in the middle. Right. So if that happens in the 1st circle, wouldn't that 1st circle loadout still be there late in the 4th circle?
Some of them it's like absolutely would, I would imagine.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
That means the loadout's like always going to be in the zone. I don't like that at all, which, you know, I think that's why I think they need to make it so each team just gets their own and then land them on the edge like they did in Caldera. Because that means like I can just I'm just going to hit a stronghold early on still. Then if those are still giving you loadouts, we'll talk about that when it comes to it. And then I'm leaving my first loadout for the 4th circle and I die and come back and then I still have another immediate loadout. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I like that idea at all.
I agree. And yeah, we'll talk more about strongholds because I think there is a section in here on strongholds, but like Tanner and I talked about in our latest Patreon episode, again, sorry to keep mentioning that, patreon.com/thedropshot, best way to support the show. I still think the play is going to be just get a stronghold ASAP.
I kind of think that too, yeah.
Now, with that said, though, I have no problem with any of the changes detailed in this section. I think they are a little odd. I don't think we need to decrease the cost of primary weapons, but they're so trivially cheap already anyway that I don't care if they get cheaper. I don't think it's going to have any impact on the game. Just a weird thing to change. Loadout drops getting cheaper is good. It's too bad that it's only slightly. I don't know what slightly means to them either, so I guess we will see. And then getting 2 free / community loadout drops instead of 1, good change. So, and customizable perks again, good change. Although I am curious what they are going to restrict from that pool.
Good change on paper. We'll see what they actually let us select, though. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So overall, I like this section. I think these are steps in the right direction. We largely were correct about most of this, but some of it's a little weird. and I'm curious to see how it plays in season 2.
Yeah, and now with 2 loadouts too, and if we can still get loadouts from strongholds, I don't know at this point why you would ever have the need to buy a loadout from a buy station anyways. Unless they're just... I
think we bought a loadout literally once, by the way.
I've bought a loadout one time, and it was because one person died and we had already hit the stronghold and they needed to get their loadout and we had money. I have purchased a loadout one time in Warzone.
And that was my hypothesis as to the only time that would be relevant is that situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
One time we've had to buy one. So, and it's also because they're so expensive. If they were cheaper, you could just buy one that way. But since they don't want to make it that way, and I don't think that's even necessary anyways with the ways to get a loadout in this game, I think the prices can stay pretty high.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever. Overall, pretty good. And nothing super surprising there. Moving on, additional changes. 3-plate vests. Oh boy. Oh wait, hold on, my shit's not updating. Let me do I need to do a little fix here. Computers are the worst objects you can buy, so I hope you guys don't forget about that.
What's not updating, man?
Don't forget about Dre. My notes view.
How does it just not update? Just simply have it update,
my computer's shit, I guess. I don't know, man. There we go. All right, so moving on here. Once again, sorry about that. Additional changes, 3-plate vests. Oh boy, what could this mean?
Whoa, who'd have thought?
We are continuously evaluating the pace of combat engagements and have decided to make a change. All players will now start 3-plate vest. Okay, I'm just going to finish the section. Varying sizes of vests will no longer exist in BR loot. This standardization will bring a more reliable feel to each engagement from the get-go. We'll continue looking at data about optimizing downtime and improving the ability to recover from a prior engagement. Okay. Guess who told you guys the 3-plate vest is a fucking stupid idea from before
June.
COD Next?
In like June or something.
We did.
Yeah.
We told you.
Didn't we talk about that on the episode with Tom Henderson? I think that's when we talked about plate vests.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about backpacks at that point. I'm pretty sure we talked about plate vests too. Armor vests were coming. We weren't sure how that was going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just always anywhere on paper. That's just a bad idea. Having different type of vests that change the actual time to kill.
It was so obvious that we didn't need to have played the game before to tell.
Oh no, you had to literally read it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like a super obvious change. We have been saying since before the launch of Warzone 2 that this system is fucking stupid for exactly the reasons that they have now finally figured out months later. So this is a good change, but it just speaks to how Activision devs do not play their own game because they didn't know that this was a bad idea that they were going to have to end up reverting. So kudos to them for reverting it. I just can't believe we ever got here in the first place. So this is good.
What the hell does the last sentence mean, though? It seems so out of place. I don't understand what they're even talking about.
We'll continue to looking at data about optimizing downtime and improving the ability to recover from a prior engagement. I think that means like when you die and come back, you aren't discouraged from taking a gunfight that you otherwise would take since you haven't found a 3-plate vest yet. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. Yeah, it seems weird to add in there. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, yeah, this was obviously a stupid idea. Glad they're changing it. It would have been cool to keep them in and have them act as tempered, but I'm fine with it.
That's more work. Yeah.
That's more work. This is a perfectly serviceable change.
They would have to nerf the spawn rate of them because then everyone would have tempered by the end of the game, you know?
True. Yeah.
So they'd also have to nerf the spawn rate.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll come back in at some point. Who knows?
Yeah. So this next section, very interesting. Movement. We have made an important tweak to movement that should yield better outcomes for players in combat. Starting with Season 2, players will be able to bust through doors while plating the way they would if they were sprinting. That's a very good change. This change also includes a slight increase to movement speed while plating to enable players to get to cover faster in moments of need. So, importantly, they did not say you can sprint while plating.
And you also won't be able to slide like I had brought up last week, I'm sure.
Meaning you won't be able to slide. Yeah, which is kind of a big deal. And I'm glad Tanner thought of that when he said that, because I didn't think of that. But if you can't sprint while plating, that means you also can't slide while plating, because you have to be sprinting to initiate a slide. That's an important part of being able to have a small map where Resurgence can be played. That's going to be missing. That's a big oopsie. Now, with that said, a slight increase to movement speed while plating is good, and being able to bust open doors while plating is also good. These are steps in the right direction, but in my view, they are simply not enough. And
absolutely not enough.
I don't know what slight increase to movement speed means. I don't know how slight that is going to be.
Yeah, the word slight really worries me. I don't think this will make much of a difference in gameplay. And I think that means when we end up seeing Resurgence launch, which we will in Season 2, that is, of course, not going to be fun at all if you can't move while trying to play, because your engagements are just going to be so quick. One of the things about Resurgence now is you start shooting someone, you down a guy, you start sprinting away, sliding, plating up as you're doing all that, waiting for the next guy to push who's also chasing you. Take that gunfight, down him, heal again. You can't do any of that still. If you can't sprint at all and there's slightly better movement speed while plating, it's going to be one gunfight and then you're one shot, but you downed a guy. His teammate's going to push you and you're dead and the game's over. And that's not fun at all. Yeah. That's not going to please the Resurgence players. Yeah. I am not a Resurgence main. That is not going to please them. This is not nearly enough, in my opinion, and we'll see what they mean by slight.
Yeah, so that's another good point here, is that this is like, in either case, these are, again, steps in the right direction. I think this is going to be really good and somewhat, hopefully somewhat noticeable on Al Mazrah. This is still just going to be insufficient to play Resurgence, though. If you can't slide while plating, it's going to be its movement is going to be too dog shit for Resurgence to be fun, probably. So we will see what this all means, but I'm glad that there's steps in the right direction. But I don't know. We're going to have to see. And if people keep bitching after Season 2 comes out, which I expect they will, hopefully they continue to make steps in that direction. So,
yeah.
Next, buy stations. In order to make buy stations and their goods easier to access, we've revamped our approach. Spawn locations have been added/adjusted. Spawns will be static across the map. Interesting. And loadout drop markers have unlimited stock at all stations. That doesn't matter. As always, we will continue to monitor the global balance of our economy and availability of resources as we move forward. Okay, I really, really like this. I really like static spawn locations of buys. That makes... Because here's the thing about Warzone. You want some variety in each match. And what that used to be in Warzone 1 was chopper spawns locations, Bertha spawn locations, buy station spawn locations, and obviously circle/flight path. However, in Warzone 2, chopper spawns are like static. I don't know about vehicle spawns, but those probably aren't static. But so vehicle spawns maybe would be one. But what else? Strongholds are going to add some variety in each match. And the circles and flight path is still going to be different. I think each match having different strongholds becoming active, different black sites becoming active, different flight paths, and different circle locations is a sufficient amount of variety between each match, such that we also don't need random buy station spawns. It's too much randomness. If the circle is different every game, then that's enough variety between matches. Buy stations should have always been static, in my opinion, even in Warzone 1. So I'm glad that they're going to be now, provided they are placed well. Here and here's the issue. If they are placed poorly and they're static, oops.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a real fucking disaster.
Yeah.
That's a real fucking disaster.
It's totally dependent on how they choose to place them.
Exactly. Yep. Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
So
I mean, when we were playing on Monday, Tuesday, whenever that was, there was not a single buy station anywhere in downtown like usual. It was the classic 2 buy stations, literally I think 50 meters apart at Hydro. Not even 50 meters. Yeah, you're right. It was probably like 30 meters or so. It was so close. It was
insane. Yeah. In the same game. Yeah.
And not a single one in downtown. So hopefully they use their brains and go through, and figure that out. Cause and that'll make people kind of like find their own little interesting drop spots too, that you would never think of landing, like maybe like Quarry or something. So Quarry will obviously have its own buy station. I never land there, never think about it. But if I start landing a place like that and I realize like, whoa, there's a lot of good loot here. There are a lot of chests here. And of course there's always a buy. This is a good drop location.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. By the way, since it talks about loadout markers having unlimited stock, this makes me think they're not uncapping streaks UAVs actually, because you think they would say that there, that there's being stock adjustments and buy stations. So
I agree.
Interesting.
I agree. I think all the other things are because if they mentioned loadout drop markers, they would have certainly mentioned UAVs. Yeah. So I don't think anything else is changing there, which makes removing Ghost less necessary, but they're still probably going to do that. So a little weird, but overall looking better. I like this change to buy stations a lot. In all seriousness, I think they're going to do a good enough job statically placing buys, and they specifically say added/adjusted, meaning there's probably going to be more buy stations than there are right now, and there'll be static spawns. I think that's going to be really good if they don't massively fuck it up, which I don't think they will, honestly.
I hope they figure out too where the circle endings are. Make sure there's a buy close to a circle ending somewhere, because so many times as well, you won't have any buys if you land in downtown, and then at the end of the match, which is somewhere else completely different, that whole area also will not have a buy close to it. Well, there are 6 buy stations in hydroelectric, something like that. Yeah,
exactly. So I think static's the way to go. I think it should have been that way in Warzone 1. And I'm glad it's going to be coming to Warzone 2. I think this is really good. So that's actually a really big change I did not expect. So last section for Warzone here, Strongholds. Strongholds provide an alternative gameplay experience with high payoff for those willing to tackle the objective and for others interested in robbing players of their rewards. We are committed to providing a balanced engagement for players who choose to enter Strongholds. Season 2 will bring changes to the rewards players receive from Strongholds and Black Site completion, as well as additional adjustments to AI combatant damage. So this section, Tanner and I talked a little bit about on our Patreon episode, and we were a little confused, or at least I was.
Yes, this is still confusing to me reading it now, yeah.
So Season 2 will bring changes to the rewards players receive from Stronghold and Black Site completion. That's the only really confusing clause highlighted here. Obviously, we're not going to get backpacks when we finish Stronghold anymore, because there won't be backpacks. What that would leave would be, if the loot was as it is now, a gas mask for each party member, an armor vest for each party member, either 1 muni or 1 armor box for each party member. Those are I think the guaranteed rewards for completing a Stronghold right now. How would they change that? And would they make the rewards better or worse? Because it does not imply one way or the other here. And if they're going to make it better, what does that mean? And if they're going to make it worse, what does that mean? I have no idea.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as changes to the rewards. You are right, since you're not getting backpacks anymore, since they're removing larger backpacks, that is technically a change in rewards from clearing a Stronghold. Once you defuse the bomb and you get your loadout, they drop backpacks for you. If you're the first team there. If you're not the first team there, then you don't.
You just get the loadout, yeah.
Yeah, so then the other question becomes, and I've seen no one else talk about this, to me it almost sounds like they're removing getting a loadout from a stronghold.
Oh, that's another reward, which I didn't mention.
That is the reward. That is the reward for completing a stronghold in Black Site.
Oh,
is you get another loadout. That's what that's what you're talking about on a Patreon episode. That's what I don't understand. But I feel like they would make that more clear.
I don't think they would remove a loadout as the reward, would they?
I don't think so, but I don't know. They're adding more loadout drops and decreasing the price of guns and decreasing the price of loadout drop markers and adding rare loadout drop markers into loot. So True. I don't really know. But then at that point, what are the rewards for going to a stronghold? Maybe more streaks since they're still capping like UAVs or something? I don't know. Maybe just you get a loadout and you don't get a muni, you don't get an armor box, you don't get... They also drop plate vests. That was another thing. They drop plate vests and the backpack. So technically they could just remove those and saying they're making changes to the rewards.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm worried that they're going to remove the ability to earn a loadout from a stronghold, which I think based on how the loadouts we're going to get in the first circle, as we already talked about, I think I would still just do a stronghold because everyone else is going to do the easy thing and just try, or what they think is the easy thing, and just go to a loadout and then fight teams over it. Well, we're just killing the 5 bots at the stronghold, getting our loadout, and then getting the fuck out of there. So I don't know. I'm a little worried about this because I do still want them in strongholds. I want that as an option in case I want to do it.
Yeah. I actually have no idea. I have no theory on what this could be. You could be right, though, because they're making loadouts so much more accessible now, at least in their eyes, that they might be able to justify not having them as a reward for completing a stronghold anymore, and instead dropping more selfs or more streaks or more cash or something like that, maybe. I have no idea. I'm very curious to see what they do. I hope they don't remove loadouts as the reward. Because if they do, I will probably never do a stronghold again. The biggest reason to do strongholds was number one, the loadout. It was the fastest way to get, it was the soonest you could possibly get a loadout is doing a stronghold, like as it stands now. And number two, it's basically the only way you're going to get a backpack, a medium or large backpack. Everything else that you get at a stronghold, I'm going to find through the course of the match. A medium or large backpack is not one of them. I've found one not by completing a stronghold ever, especially since you can't loot them off player. I swear to God,
they're always in duffel bags. You have to loot duffel bags. Like every third duffel bag has a medium backpack, and the larges were always pretty rare. But and then you get all this money for it. But then by that point, you have your plate vest, you have your larger backpack, you have your loadout, you have muni and armor boxes. So what do you go to the closest buy station and maybe buy a UAV if there's one there. There's not. Someone already bought it. And then you buy your third gun. And then you walk away and your team and quad still has $80,000.
Right.
That there's just nothing to spend it on. So, yeah, maybe they'll make it more reward focused instead of as much money. Or in their mind, since apparently everyone thinks we need so much more money, they'll just give us a shitload of money. Too. Instead of like streaks and other things. Yeah. I don't know.
Which I would take. I'd rather die with 50K and no streaks if that's what everyone else is experiencing. It would be dumb, but it would be better than streak spam. Some of you in chat are speculating specialist token would be a reward for completing a stronghold or something like the foresight or a grenade launcher. You guys are outside of your minds. There is no way. I have very little faith in Activision development, but they are not going to be dropping specialist tokens as stronghold rewards or anything even remotely that good. So help me God. I do not at all see that happening. I think there is a less than 1% chance that's coming. They're not going to make the rewards equivalent to what black sites give right now. There's no rhyme or reason, and nothing here implies that. Don't worry about that. That would be fucking insane if they did that, but no, they're not going to bring special.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that.
Rewards. It just doesn't make any sense.
I could see it for black sites, maybe.
I could see it for black sites,
since there's only one team that'd be able to get that in the whole game, and then once you die, you can't pick up those tokens again.
Yeah,
definitely not for strongholds. I can maybe see it for black sites, but yeah, since they're limiting the amount of perks and stuff we can get, I can't see them doing that either. Because then they'd have to take those away from specialist anyways,
Yeah. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But this is the one thing where big question mark. I don't know. And then the last clause, as well as additional adjustments to AI combatant damage. That probably means they're going to make the AI even more dog shit, which I think is fine. The AI should be as trivial and as possible. If they all died in one bullet, it would be super stupid and silly, and I would still be happy about it because the AI shouldn't be there at all. So
yeah,
that's good. So anyway. Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That is right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code DROPSHOT for 20% off and free shipping. I just got this kit. I just used it. As you can see, my hair up top on my head, disaster. The beard, looking sexy, dude. It's time to tame your mane. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all your stubble troubles with Manscaped's Pro Beard Kit. It all starts with the Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. It's a cordless trimmer with a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So the comb stays on. There's the actual blade underneath the comb, and then you spin a wheel and it raises and lowers the metal cutter so that you don't have to use a billion guards. You just keep one guard on, and if you want to change the length, instead of putting a new plastic piece on, you just rotate the metal part up or down underneath it. It's really clever. It's really cool, actually. It's also waterproof. You can shave in the shower to avoid all that hair in the sink. The titanium-coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. The Pro Kit also comes with 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. First is the beard shampoo and conditioner. All your hair is different, and your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than the hair on your head. That's why the kit has made shampoo and conditioner specifically for your beard. Next is the beard oil, of course. I just put this in after I used it. An essential piece for your main facial accessory. No one wants a guy whose beard is brittle and dry. The oil relieves dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath and adds a little shimmer and shine. And then you can cap off the kit with the Beard Balm, a pomade that shapes, styles, moisturizes, and tames for a sculpted look. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DROPSHOT at manscaped.com. Once again, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code DROPSHOT. Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. Don't forget, it comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, a comb, and some nice scissors to ensure that your beard is ready to impress. All right, now on to the next section of the blog post, DMZ. So they have DMZ and I believe a multiplayer section as well. I don't believe we're going to spend quite as much time on these sections because there, I imagine, won't be as much to say, or we specifically won't have as much to say on them.
Yeah.
But we're still going to go through fucking dog shit. We're still going to go through pretty much everything here real quick. So one thing I want to do first, really quickly, we need to get you on the ad block train. So let me see here. I can pull this back up. And okay,
ad blocker, huh?
Yeah, you need to get a fucking ad block, man.
Ain't gonna, but yeah, I don't believe in ad blockers.
Go. Yeah, we're stealing. All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so first section of DMZ, enemy tuning. In season 1, the AI in DMZ were challenging, but the ramp up of difficulty was often steep, with some players getting overwhelmed. With season 2, we've introduced a number of balance changes to adjust the types of AI spawning, the number, and the accuracy of AI at range, and much more. All this should provide a challenging but manageable play space. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the AI is going to be more dog shit, and there will be fewer of them. Good. I have virtually no opinion on this. I guess it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. Spawn points. We're tuning some of the infill points across Al Masra for improved early match experience based on gameplay data. Starting at a point at which your squad feels less isolated or without loot and contract opportunities is not the best experience. These tweaks should improve spawn points across the mode. That is one thing I did kind of notice when we played a little bit of DMZ. You can spawn real far from everything sometimes. So this is a good thing for them to tackle.
Well, also, people that play DMZ knew exactly what the spawn points are. So you'd spawn and you'd be like, oh, I got this spawn. There's going to be a team 150 meters to my left. They would look that direction. The team would be running over the hill and they'd start shooting them and like kill them already. I think that's part of it as well. Because I saw a lot of that in DMZ clips.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. That makes sense. People do that in Tarkov.
Like the Tarkov shit spawns die 10 seconds into the game because you got a bad spawn, yeah.
Yeah, so... Mission difficulty tuning is the next section. Data and feedback reinforced that the faction mission difficulty ramp was too aggressive for many players, and that the demanding scale ultimately made it very challenging to unlock the second insured weapon slot, which is the reward for completing all of the tier 3 missions in season 1. We've adjusted the overall scaling of difficulty in missions as the tiers progress. Later tier missions will still be quite challenging even for the experienced op, but we believe more straightforward access to an additional insured slot will provide a better path forward for all players. I think this is good. If this was the case, which their data suggests it was, that second insured weapon slot was too difficult for a lot of people to get, then they should have made it a little easier. And I like how they also say later tier missions will still be quite challenging, because you don't want to make the whole fucking path super trivially easy. So if they're just making it easier to get like a really important kind of thing, the second insured slot, and then still keeping the difficulty quite high as you go beyond that, I think that's probably a smart change. I think that's good. Crashes, I'm not reading it. They're going to fix crashes or try to. Seasonal refresh.
They didn't add reconnect, so it doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All new missions are coming to Season 2, including a refresh of your current faction mission progress and an inventory reset. Oh, wipe in 18 days. Holy shit. We will be detailing all the need-to-know intel for DMZ ahead of Season 2 in an upcoming blog. This is actually quite interesting, by the way. This, I think, is a bigger deal. Oh, and my shit's... Oh, wait. Yeah, we're good. This is quite a big deal. I think this is the first time we're getting confirmation of how wipe is going to work, if there will be a wipe. This is something Tanner and I talked quite a bit about before we had details on DMZ. Are you going to keep your progress forever, or is it going to reset? And now it looks like it completely resets, which is surprising.
Yeah, and
like really surprising, because we said
pissing
that
off a lot
happen.
of DMZ players.
And yeah,
because they never said this before. If you're going to do something like that, you need to say when the game launches. Every season, everything will reset. Think of the average COD player that's playing DMZ. They are not some little sweaty tryhards busting through these missions quickly in general. They are players, probably usually an older player base, don't play a whole lot. We're older than us even. And the fact that you didn't tell them that this is going to reset on the next season is a slap in the face to those poor people, and it's fucked up. And you will literally lose a lot of those players because they do not want to do the same missions again, not knowing that's how the game works. You will lose a good chunk of DMZ players. I already saw kids complaining about this, not kids, grown men complaining about this on Twitter, saying like, I'm like almost like tier blank on this. I didn't realize this was going to happen. Like, if they really like reset all my missions, I'm not playing DMZ again. So I think it would be fine if they reset it and everything was entirely different, which is kind of how it sounds like they're doing it, right? Because all new missions are coming with a refresh to your current faction missions. So
probably pretty similar.
Like Tarkov, the game wipes and you do the same literally 300 quests over again, and then they add a few new ones every wipe. It's the same ones over and over again. So this at least sounds like it's something different, which I like the idea of a lot. But the fact they didn't tell people beforehand really sucks for the people that have been trying to grind and get the max things with the playtime they have, and not being able to do that and then getting it wiped really sucks for those people that were not aware like what type of game mode this would be really. So I think that's the biggest thing. If this is really like a full-on wipe thing, you should have told people to start with, and shame on you for not, and that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's weird. And this is how much of a Tarkov clone this was. The devs drew so heavily from that game that they thought it was a given that it would wipe every season, so much so that they forgot to mention it to people who don't play Tarkov and didn't even like know that that happened. You know?
Yeah. That's what keeps the game fresh. You need things like that. But it's solely the fact that they didn't mention it beforehand is the bad thing about
exactly,
this.
100%.
But it's their first time making this mode. They probably don't know how the mode works either. One of them was probably like, oh, Tarkov had a wipe in late December. Should we do something? And Joe Seacott was like, oh, yeah, maybe. Sure, that sounds like a good idea. If don't Tarkov know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, let's do it. Fuck you, Joe Seacott, by the way. But yeah, so.
I wonder if anything will carry, like, I wonder if insured weapon slots will carry over, though.
Like how many insured weapon slots you have? Well, I don't think so, because isn't that based on how many faction missions you do?
It is, but it's possible that if you've unlocked, let's say, like your second insured weapon slot, that going into season 2, there will again be a reward for doing all the tier 3 missions. You'll get a second insured weapon slot. And if you already have one, you just don't get anything for that. You know?
Yeah.
That's
and then,
possible.
well,
I could see them doing something like that.
Something like that saves from season to season, so that gives you like some sort of reward to keep, essentially.
Yeah. But then the problem there would be once you get it once, you don't really ever need to get it again. Which I think is fine.
Yeah.
I could see them doing it. It's just a question I have that is not clear from this blog post. But they do say, we will be detailing all the need to know intel for DMZ ahead of season 2 in an upcoming blog.
That's probably maybe next week. We may get a DMZ blog next week.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
The update's still more than 2 weeks away. Maybe not.
I would like to see more info on this. I am curious. So
yeah.
And then the last section on DMZ in this blog post, locations. With the new exclusion zone coming to season 2, players will have a third option to choose from when deploying in DMZ. The faction missions refresh will provide new missions that send you across these destinations, including Building 21. We suggest you and your squad gear up for infiltration first. Okay, yeah, so it's going to be Al Mazrah, Building 21, and then the new exclusion zone for a total of 3, which they had already leaked. So, okay, and that's it for DMZ. Not much there. I don't know. I don't really have anything to add beyond what we already have. We'll see what their more in-depth blog post will entail, and we'll go over that when it comes out. So the next section, multiplayer. They have an audio section specifically for multiplayer. As noted in the previous updates, one type of our audio occlusion system remained off in multiplayer periodically after launch. Occlusion still existed in multi at this time, but was not the newer and more advanced system. We've spent this time testing and re-implementing that occlusion system and are happy to report that it will be back online with the launch of Season 2. That's interesting. I wonder if that's going to make the audio more prominent or less prominent. It's not clear to me which will be the case. But audio is going to be different.
Yeah, I think generally people want louder footstep audio, so...
Yeah.
Well, if it was the same occlusion system...
It wasn't the same occlusion system. It wasn't the same occlusion system, I guess. So it probably wasn't the same bug either. So they're probably going to implement the new system without the staplers being wall bugs.
Oh, so they're removing staplers from multiplayer. That's the biggest thing they're doing in Season 2, yeah. Staplers removed and coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing to say about this.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so anyway. Perk balancing. This is interesting. And... okay, let's just read it. Perk balancing. And this is in the multiplayer section. We have heard a lot of feedback around the timing of the bonus perks, specifically Ghost. We looked at swapping this perk's position And I wonder if that would have meant it would have swapped for Warzone also. Very interesting. But we felt this would create severe imbalance in the perk system. For Season 2, we've updated the rate at which the bonus and ultimate perks are earned, reduces bonus perk cost by 50% and ultimate by 25%. In other words, you're now going to get your bonus perk twice as soon. Yeah, so twice as early, and you'll get your ultimate perk 25% earlier than you are right now. This adjustment will allow players to get Ghost earlier in matches, which will better support players looking to engage more aggressively. Okay, well, you guys probably already know what we're going to say. What are your thoughts, Tanner?
Why, just scrap the system like you should have scrapped in the alpha and beta when everyone play tested it and said this was a horrible system. They've now sped up the earn rate of perks. I think this is literally the fourth time probably.
Yep. Yeah.
50%. You're going to get your bonus perk 20 seconds into the match. Just give them to me on rip. I'm going to play Dom, cap my own flag, and then have my bonus perk. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, we need to throw in the towel.
So cool. Hey, better than how it is, but just give them to me on rip at that point.
It's just absurd. Yeah, that's exactly my position.
This is the prime
because it gets us closer to just having the perks off the rip, which is how it always should have been. Yeah.
This is just a prime iDub thing. Again, they're keeping their stupid, ridiculous system so that they can say, oh, this was, our new good system we love so much. Look. And now they're just making it so similar to just having all your perks on rip. It's like, why not just revert to that? And hey, maybe it'll be the same thing with the strongholds. Maybe you won't even be able to get a loadout from a stronghold. And you'll fight AI for nothing but money. But hey, they're not going to remove the strongholds, right? Because that was their massive innovation this year.
Exactly.
Because they're too stubborn to go back and change anything based on actual player feedback. They won't revert anything.
Yeah. So this is dumb. Yeah. But
dumb but necessary.
But good, yeah.
Yeah, dumb but good, yes.
Whatever gets us closer to just having all my perks right when the match starts is a step in the right direction. So one thing, again, that I find interesting, though, they thought about swapping where Ghost is, so making it like a bonus perk instead of an ultimate perk. If they had done that, I wonder if that would have translated to Warzone 2. That would be very interesting.
Maybe that's why they're not adding some of the perks into Warzone. That could be the Black Helicopters theory.
Ooh,
maybe they're thinking about changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're going to change the way some of the perks are set up, or maybe they will end up scrapping the system. Maybe they just didn't have time, so instead they did this change for now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we will see.
That's the Black Helicopters take of the day for you.
Black Helicopters, yeah. So anyway, weapon balancing, they're going to balance weapons. Hardcore. Nice. As announced last week, Hardcore mode is returning to MW 2. Dude, this whole season is just going back to shit that everyone wanted and expected in the first place, and just scrapping shit no one asked for that we were mad we even got on launch and told them we were. The whole fucking season for Warzone and multiplayer. It's so stupid. As announced last week, Hardcore is returning to MW 2. It will replace the Tier 1 mode. We are excited for fans to have this franchise favorite back in the mix for Season 2. So we're just getting rid of Tier 1, the dumb new system they didn't need to add and replace Hardcore with. And they're just saying, okay, oops. Once again, oops, we're going to go back to the thing we know you guys like. Because this was not the area. This was not the space in which to innovate. So good, but funny. So I don't play Hardcore. I don't care at all. But everyone wants Hardcore over Tier 1. So
yeah, and they are fully replacing that. Yeah.
Yeah, just shocking. A full mea culpa there. So good, cool. Not much to say there. Playlists. Our Valentine's Day playlist will return. We'll be detailing some more multiplayer modes coming to Season 2 in the coming weeks. 1 week per month, Infinity Ward will be creating a Twitter poll for fans to vote on one of that week's playlists from a rotating pool. Nice. You might think this is cool. It's not. Here's why. When you make a poll, you also make the options for the poll. So you could do a poll such as, true. Do you want shipment, shoot house, or shoot the ship?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it's not going to be a very expansive list you can pick from. So settle down before you get excited about this.
Yeah. Would you rather have your left arm cut off, your right arm cut off, or your right leg cut off? Yeah, it's going to be something like that, basically. Right. That's true.
So this is not going to be that transformative, but that's cute. Whatever. It's better than nothing.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Ranked play is the next section here. Last week, we confirmed that Ranked Play, a deep multiplayer experience done in partnership with Treyarch, which all you Ranked players should be excited about because they are unanimously known as the best stewards of the Ranked Play mode in COD games. They did Vanguards, for example, which was received very well, so that's good. And the Call of Duty League. And Infinity Ward is coming to Season 2. Details on ranked maps, modes, and more will be revealed prior to launch. That is confusing to me because that implies it's going to be different maps, modes, and more than what we have currently in the CDL mosh pit. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Wait, say that again. Are they're the same as in the CDL mosh pit?
Well, that's what I would think, but since they said that the details on the maps, modes, and more will be revealed, since they wrote that implies that it won't be the same as the CDL mosh pit, right?
Well, it'll be more strict. So CDL mosh pit, I think, we'll find out when we play it. I don't think it follows exactly the CDL league, or CDL. I don't know if the maps they don't play at all in CDL, if those are in the mosh pit. I feel like they are, maybe.
Interesting.
I feel like it's the general mode, but on all the maps. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I just think it would be weird to have a CDL mosh pit that's really close to ranked play rules, but it has 2 extra maps that you don't play in actual ranked play in it. That would be dumb.
I
why?
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see, but there you go. I guess we'll learn. And then the last section here, looking ahead. So these are some of the changes coming in Season 2. We have plenty of new content to share ahead of launch. They've shared none of that, by the way. It's all been just, we're going back to fucking the 3 years ago. Expect more information on the brand new small map coming to Warzone 2 next week. That will be fun to cover, including the return of Resurgence. The full Season 2 announcement blog will be released on February 8th with upcoming posts from studios, including the full Season 2 patch notes, as well as blogs from the COD staff, all set to drop before launch. That is cool. I like when they do that. We're going to get the patch notes for Season 2 before Season 2. That's interesting. I'm glad. And then they stay frosty. So, okay. February 8th, huh? So that's going to be...
Well, that's for a blog post. I don't think they're saying that's all of the patch notes. They're just saying that's another blog post. Okay.
Yeah, but still.
Yes, February 8th. So that'll be good. That'll be good to line up with a pod. We may even do a pod right after that. We'll see.
Yeah, we can do our shit
on Wednesday.
So that's the big blog post that they've been hyping up for a week. I think it lived up to the hype. Honestly, not surprised by a lot of this. The big surprises were the removal of backpacks and boy, I think that's it. And the restriction of perks. So they're adding customizable perk packages, but they're not allowing all the perks. That's kind of surprising too. And then there was one other smaller thing that surprised me. I don't remember what it was. Static spawns of buy stations is kind of surprising and really good. So, yeah.
Them not doing more to the movement mechanics is actually surprising. I expected, without a doubt, full sprinting while plating, not a slight movement increase.
Yeah, I'm curious what slight movement means. I'm very curious. But if you can't slide, which it sounds like you won't be able to, that's going to be an L, as the kids say. Overall thoughts on this blog post, Tanner?
Good. We shouldn't be reading this blog post because 90% of these changes should have just been in the game from launch. That's how the game should have been designed. So now, of course, they're wasting time going back and fixing all the issues, which is the absolute typical Call of Duty development cycle. But good, I guess. Hopefully the game is more fun now, for sure. I like the loadout changes especially, and the 3-plate change. Mm-hmm. That's going to make, I think, early game better. I just hope we see a massive decrease of the time to kill on all of these up-close SMGs and everything.
And that was not mentioned at all, which is worrying.
Well, they talked about weapon balance, so that means they're not adding 50 health. That would have been in this blog post, I would think.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, that's a topic that we talked about, and I was like, I don't know how they fix this issue, because adding 50 health is going to make the long-range engagements probably too long, and then up close is just going to be about right at that point.
I think the multiplier solution we came up with
I think you
perfect.
Just have to nerf the shit out of all these guns. Yeah, the limb multipliers, the
head multi,
net less chest damage, especially the head multipliers is insane on everything, which again, they also did back when Caldera launched with the Vanguard guns they made at one point. So all of the headshot multipliers were so insane, and then they ended up decreasing those by large amounts. I mean, from like a 1.6 or a 1.7 headshot multiplier down to a 1.1. And of course, you know, we get a new game, they all have insane headshot multipliers again. They have to nerf them all again. It's the cycle. So, but yeah, sounds like the game will be a lot better than what it is right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. Yeah, again, most of this not terribly surprising based on the tweets we covered last week. I think by and large, this is a very positive season for the game, specifically Warzone. I think the vast majority of these changes are going to improve Warzone too. Some things are not going to improve it enough. There's still going to be too much streak spam, but it's going to be better, hopefully. You're still not going to be able to move quickly enough while plating, but it's going to be better. And you're still not going to have a very easy to buy loadout, but they're going to be more accessible, so that's better. The Gulag is 1v1 now. That's way better. So, like, these are all really good changes, but again, just to reiterate the point I had made last week on this topic, it is a shame that Season 2 is all about changing things that no one wanted to be dramatically fucking overhauled back to what everyone has wanted in the first place. And I'd like to also reiterate this point. This does not mean that I, Tanner, or the Call of Duty community at large are against innovation, and it doesn't mean we want the same Call of Duty game just reskinned with updated shinier graphics every year. That's not what we're saying. You guys can innovate, but just be smart about it. Get consultants who play the game. I think the backpack system is the perfect example of what could have been a very cool, interesting, transformative innovation that improved the game and something people would have embraced. You could have had medium and large backpacks with the special slots where if you have a normal backpack, you can't carry an extra streak or an extra self. If you get a medium, you can carry one extra streak, self, or a third weapon, and then a large, you could carry two of those three things. For example, and maybe that wouldn't be perfect, but that would be way better than what we have now. And like the introduction of backpacks is a cool innovation that could have been done really fucking well, and people would have embraced it. But again, all the innovations they made were things that are on their face bad, that no one would want. And of course they're spending their time reverting them. Why are 3-plate vests a thing? Why was that ever introduced? That is an example of a bad innovation that you should have known not to implement in the first place, because you're going to be forced to revert it, and they have. So it's a good thing they're reverting it, but we shouldn't be in this situation we found ourselves in, where the bulk of Season 2 is just changing things back to how they should have been on launch, that everyone who plays the game knows they should have been on launch. That's a shame. We've lost a lot of time here, and we've lost an opportunity to be getting new content by now. But still a step in the right direction, and again, we are not anti-innovation. The circle splitter, that's another cool innovation that totally
the old circle
stay.
splitter, yeah.
Those are dope. Like, that's an innovation. It's a new thing to the game that you could have done, and it wouldn't have been just reskinned Warzone. It would have had a new element to it that's cool that people would embrace. We're not anti-innovation. We're anti-silly innovation, like a 2v2 gulag with a fucking jailer. I mean, duh, that's a bad idea. Duh. So don't say, just because people bitch about, oh, you guys wanted a different game and then you got it and now you're fucking mad. What do you guys want? You're impossible to please. Wrong. We just want innovations that make sense. Some of them did, a lot of them didn't. And Season 2 is going to address those concerns. I think that's a good thing. So.
Yep, I'm excited for the season.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on from the blog post We have a couple other little topics to cover, I think, Tanner.
Yeah. So I just want to point this out because everyone again keeps saying, "Oh, Raven's in control of Warzone. Infinity Ward doesn't work on Warzone." They're again making it super clear. After they tweeted that blog post, they replied to the blog post and said Battle Royale in partnership with @Raven Software. So they're just trying to make it super clear that they're still working on the game because they probably see all of the comments on Raven's tweets that are like, thank God you guys are in charge of Warzone again, blah, 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 blah. They're not. They're still working on it together. Infinity Ward is still definitely there. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Next thing here. This one is interesting.
Ooh.
I stumbled across a TikTok from Metaphor, a popular K-BAM streamer, aim assist complainer. Metaphor. He made this TikTok talking about ranked play. So it's like a 55-second TikTok. Basically, he could have summed it up in 3 seconds. Not much else to say besides the fact that it was supposedly leaked to him that Warzone Ranked is coming soon. So he said, and I quote, "I promise you guys, Ranked is coming out soon." He never once said Warzone Ranked is coming out, but the title of the video and the description both said Warzone Ranked. In the video, when he started playing it, it said Warzone Ranked coming soon, blah, blah. It's just weird because he's talking about this like it's coming soon, and I have not heard a single other thing from anyone, anytime, anywhere, at any point ever. Not Charlie Intel, not any leaker, but he was told supposedly from a leaker, someone, that Warzone Ranked is coming very soon. So, not much else to say. I guess keep an eye out for that. Obviously, they couldn't release it in the game's current state, with how it is now. So, obviously, they want to do an update, change some things to the game, and then maybe go on with a ranked mode from there. So, maybe we see something in like Season 3, but
Season 3, I don't know. I think at the earliest, yeah.
I mean, again, they said all the way back, I think at the very beginning of Caldera.
Season 3 Reloaded would be better.
It was like, quote, "We want to do ranked, but we want to take our time and make sure we do it right," whatever that means. So, I think they want to worry about fixing the game and making sure people can finish a match first before they added a ranked mode in.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Of course not. It would have been nice. It would be great to have it on launch, but the thing is, and I'll always think that they need to have it there on launch to hold the player base immediately. But it's just hard when they can't release video games that aren't filled with fucking bugs. They're literally incapable.
They would have had to delay
we see it year after year after year. They cannot release a game without game-breaking bugs for the first few months. It will never happen again. It just won't. Look at their track record. So as much as we need ranked on launch, I don't think we'll ever see it because they even know they can't put out a working game.
And they insist on doing it before Christmas.
Yes.
So then it definitely would be a terrible idea. Yeah. So on this topic, I absolutely believe Warzone 2.0 at a time will have a ranked mode. I find it, and I've been saying this since well before Warzone 2 came out, maybe a year plus ago, I've been saying, actually longer. I know I've been saying this longer. I've been saying this for a long fucking time. Warzone 2 will have a ranked mode. I've actually been saying this since actually episode 80, probably like a long time, because it's obvious. And I stand by that assessment. Warzone 2 will have a ranked mode. How soon? I don't know.
I don't know what soon means. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I don't know what soon means, and I don't know if it's true. So on the one hand, Metaphor has been a very reliable leaker. He does not leak shit all the time. I would argue he doesn't even leak things often, but every time he does, it seems to be bang spot on. So on the one hand, that makes this believable that we're getting ranked Warzone soon. On the other hand, like you said, not a single solitary other goddamn soul on planet Earth, has said or alluded to this, including Thomas J. Henderson of insider-gaming.com, which you guys should visit. So I don't know what to think, because Metaphor is real reliable, but something this big especially this isn't like a little leak, like a new bundle coming out either. Like, this is the leak. If you are a leaker, this is the biggest leak you could have, if true, that we're going to get Warzone ranked. Literally, I can't think of a bigger Call of Duty leak, except maybe like the standalone title for 2023 or whatever, how their cash grab for 2023. Maybe that's the biggest possible COD leak. Second place would be ranked Warzone. So it's really weird that no one else is talking about it, at least yet. Maybe they will, but this TikTok was posted on the 19th. It's been a week. And you would think
and he didn't tweet about
this
either. He just put a TikTok out on it, so I don't know. Little weird. What do you do you think it's coming soon? I don't think it's soon. I agree with you. I think we'll get it in Warzone 2 at some point, but there's no shot we even see it in Season 2, which, by him saying soon, I would kind of argue he's talking about at some point during Season 2. I can almost guarantee it that's very unlikely in my opinion. I wouldn't even
we
still don't have stats
2.
like ZPib's saying. We don't have, we don't even have track stats. So
ready.
rank shouldn't be on their mind until we have stats actually. So maybe Season 3, Season 4, I don't know. Whatever it is, whenever they add it, it'll be too little and too late, as usual. But at least we'll have it going forward. And hey, when Warzone 3 comes out, we'll have ranked mode. Maybe on launch, right? Surely.
Smile. I think the absolute earliest I can see it being implemented and it actually making sense would be Season 3 Reloaded. That is the earliest possible point at which I would even entertain the idea of ranked being introduced being a good idea. Because right now, it is not... Warzone's just not ready for ranked. There are too many bugs still, too many crashing issues still, still too much jank, far too little weapon balancing. There are still way too many problems with this game right now to be thinking about a ranked mode. And that's going to be the case for all of Season 2. You could argue by the launch of Season 3, the bugs will be ironed out enough and the weapon balance will be good enough to where a ranked mode makes sense. However, I disagree with you because Season 3 is going to add other content. And as we all know, with every new season, what do we get? A new gun and new bugs. Lots of them. So it would be a mistake.
Few bugs.
It would be a big mistake to introduce ranked play at the same time a new season launches, because you're just going to be introducing a ton of bugs as well, which they have demonstrated ad nauseum that they are incapable of releasing a season without a host of new bugs. So Season 3, maybe it would be ready if they could launch a season that was relatively bugless, but they can't. So I think Season 3 Reloaded is the earliest possible point at which it would make sense. And I would like that. That's still pretty far away, and I would be happy to see ranked play as soon as it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what he means by soon. And it's weird we haven't heard anything else about it. So maybe we should ask Tom.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about DMing him or something, asking. I'm sure he would. Probably say get fucked though. No, I haven't heard anything.
Fire off a little tweet. I'll fire off a little tweet.
Well, it would have to be private because he's not gonna say something in public.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyways, last thing here. Little side note. I just thought this was interesting. This is from Mr. Pro Westy, whoever that is. He had tweeted something out. Where did all the weapon vaults go? Weren't they supposed to be an amazing new microtransaction items that applied to a lot more attachments for weapon families, blah, blah. The FJX Cinder Vault was for the M4, and it looks really clean. So that was the pre-order bundle for the Vault Edition of Modern Warfare 2. They hyped up these weapon vaults quite a bit. I wouldn't say like overhyped them or anything. They talked about them in blog posts. I believe they talked about them at COD Next. There were multiple times where they specifically talked about these weapon vaults coming to the game. We are now 3 months into the game in 2 days, and we have not received one of these. Just the one that was already made before the game launched. We have not received one of these. Charlie Intel did reply to his tweet. He said, the developers have told us these took months of work to make, so we should not expect many of them. It takes a lot of artist effort in order to make just one weapon vault. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if we'll just never see any of these again. Maybe they decided to scrap the idea because it was too much work.
That's a good question.
I really don't see how it's more work than making all of the shit bundles they have now with awful camo skins on different guns. Like, maybe just stop. I don't know. I feel like at a bare minimum, we need to see. Fair. Yeah, but they're already making camos for all the other shit guns they add into the store anyways, you know? I don't know. At the end of the day, it's still just them putting camos on guns, which is what they do anyways, right?
I think it's a little different, though, because they probably have to change the textures for a lot of the attachments. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Because we know they make camos all the time, easily.
Yeah, so
yeah, I don't know.
If at a bare minimum, I would think we would see one of these every season. So if we don't get one like announced with season 2 that there's a weapon vault coming, or like a week into the season there's not one in the store, I would guarantee these are just never coming back to the game again, and they just scrap the idea. Actually,
this is a perfect example of, not that this is such a huge loss, but this is a perfect example. The weapon vaults are pretty clearly and obviously to me a casualty of all of the terrible decisions they made that they are spending all of season 2 reverting. Once again, like I was saying, if they didn't have to change the gulag back to what we want, if they didn't have to change the armor vest back to what we want, if they didn't have to change the loadouts back to what we want, they could instead spend all that time working on weapon vaults. That was probably their plan. They probably planned on having like a new weapon vault for season 2, almost certainly. And maybe we will get one, although I feel like they would have hyped it up. But since they have to backtrack so much, they don't have the time or the resources, I guess.
The thing is, the people working on these, like the visual artist guys, they actually do nothing else with the game besides create stuff like this. So I don't think that has anything to do with them.
Well,
like they do not work on bugs or anything else related to the game besides doing like artistry stuff. That's
a good point. That's a good point, actually.
But yeah, I mean, maybe it's also they don't know what's a price. It probably actually, from their point of view, it's not worth their time to make money on them. Because even if they sold one of these for like $30, maybe for the amount of hours they put in, they'd obviously make way more money just by having 3 shit bundles that are $10 each that some guy's going to buy. And it took them 4 days to make that skin instead of 3 months or something. Yeah. You know what they should do? Just code it faster. Do it quicker, you know? Instead of taking months to make them, just make them in a week.
Just do it faster, yeah.
So do a better job, do a quicker job. Thank you.
I think you could argue this is still a casualty of all the backtracking they're being forced to do, because if they didn't have to do all this backtracking, Warzone player base would be way bigger than it is now, which would justify spending all that money on the artist's labor.
That's true.
Because there'd be a bigger player base to sell to.
That makes sense.
That's possible also. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it's related in the way I initially said.
And it could even be something, maybe they had plans to release one at some point, but since they saw the player base numbers dropping, maybe they thought, let's hold off on that, wait till we have more of a player base, till we hype up season 2, drop season 2, have that in the store a day after season 2 launches or something. Could be something like that too. Yeah. Just like timing from their point of view.
And maybe we'll get a new weapon vault on season 2 launch that they just haven't talked about yet. It's possible.
Copium, yeah.
I mean, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
No, it's just funny, yeah, because I mean, these are like, they had whole sections and blog posts talking about this weapon vault, and then we still haven't seen one.
And they made videos exclusively dedicated to this, remember?
Yeah, they sure did.
It is a cool idea, but yeah, I don't particularly care much one way or another, obviously, but that is funny. I haven't even thought about weapon vaults in months. Because, yeah, they just stopped talking about them.
Totally forgot about them.
Yeah. So, anyway. All right, that's it, boys and girls. We are absolutely fucking done. Hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed this episode tremendously. That was a very enlightening blog post. And by the way, kudos to Call of Duty for communicating with the community. They could have just not said anything and then released season 2, which is the Infinity Ward MO. So I'm glad they didn't do that. They were forced into not being allowed to do that because the player base is shrinking so much. We talked about this last week. But still, whether or not they were forced into it, I'm glad we got a blog post. It was well written and pretty fucking clear. They talked about a lot of things they said they were going to talk about, and we've already learned quite a bit. I'm also glad we're getting patch notes pre-season 2. That will be interesting to go into as well before the actual launch of the season. And maybe if the patch notes are fucking insane, they'll actually listen to the community saying, hey, this part of the patch notes are insane. Make sure you don't do that before launch. That would be cool. That's the big benefit of having patch notes pre-launch, is that you can change things before you actually fuck up and launch the thing that's dumb. So we'll see if that is the case. But I don't know. Either way, until then, stay posted. Thedropshot.com, your home for everything for this program. We have links to everything on our website at thedropshot.com. Our YouTube for video episodes of the podcast in full. We also have a merch store with some items. If you're really giant or really tiny, then there's some apparel in stock for you.
Get
probably
bigger, a bit smaller, and fit into it. Yeah.
If you're a normal sized person, then we are probably sold out. But we've got some things in the store that we would love to clear out. We've also got our Twitter at the Dropshot Pod, our Discord. These are all linked on the website and in the show notes if you want to just go there. You can follow us in one of those 2 spots to find our schedules every week, as well as on our YouTube page for the YouTube live streams. And most importantly, if you wanted to simply support the show, or if you wanted to get early access episodes, ad-free episodes, and bonus episodes, $5 a month, patreon.com/thedropshot. Best way to support the program. Thank you all for watching and listening. We will see you next week. Stay humble.
Stay humble.